Multiple sclerosis is the most common immune-mediated inflammatory condition of the central nervous system. The inflammation causes lymphocytes to trigger demyelination of myelin and axons, which impairs the conduction of fast nerve signals, therefore accounting for most signs and symptoms. This happens when autoreactive lymphocytes invade the CNS by crossing blood-brain barrier and form plaques, causing progressive damage. The inflammation also destroys oligodendrocytes, which secrete myelin sheath. Myelin sheath is responsible for insulation of nerve impulses and proper communication around the body. Damage to myelin sheath therefore impairs the most basic cognitive and physical functions of the body. The signs and symptoms appear as a rapid onset of cognitive, sensory, and physical disturbances. Lesions can be present within any parts of the CNS such as cerebellum, cerebral pathways, optic nerves, brainstem, and spinal cord. Multiple sclerosis within the cerebrum lead to cognitive impairment, motor deficits, depression, and epilepsy. Signs include attention deficits, reasoning, and dementia. MS within the optic nerve damages sight directly. Damage to myelin sheath lead to unilateral painless loss of vision, reduced color vision, scotoma, as well as pupillary defect. MS within the brainstem impairs nerve impulses from the rest of the body, leading to clumsiness, poor balance, impaired speech and swallowing, as well as diplopia. Loss of axons lead to signs of limb incoordination, gait ataxia, and dysarthria. MS damage to the spinal cord leads to upper motor neuron spasticity, weakness, stiffness, and erectile impotence. Conduction block due to axonal degeneration leads directly to bladder dysfunction as it impairs coordination between peripheral nervous system and cerebral cortex. More than 80% of patients diagnosed with MS experience bladder complications. Furthermore, fatigue, temperature sensitivity, and exercise intolerance are caused by conduction block in the nerve pathways, exacerbating neurologic signs and symptoms, diminishing physical and cognitive function. Multiple sclerosis can be classified into 4 subtypes determined by disease activity and progression. Clinically isolated syndrome reflects the first episode of MS without previous history of the disease. The syndrome develops acutely within 24 hours without recovery. Relapsing remitting MS is defined with common signs and symptoms, followed by periods of remission. This subtype makes up 85% of all MS cases. Relapsing remitting usually occurs within the same location. Secondary progressives characterized by initial relapsing remitting with gradual worsening of signs and symptoms. Finally, primary progressive MS represents 10% of all cases, usually characterized by consistent accumulation of signs and symptoms from the initial onset of clinically isolated syndrome.